Look at this creature. Seriously, take a good, long look. If I told you this was leaked footage from NASA of a sentient, stick-like alien life form discovered on Mars, you'd probably believe me, right? I mean, just look at that face. It possesses a bizarre, triangular head that can swivel almost 180 degrees, basically the insect equivalent of that terrifying scene in The Exorcist, and those gigantic, unblinking compound eyes. They aren't just looking at you. They seem to be peering deep into your soul and silently judging your questionable browser history. It is truly one of the most sci-fi-looking organisms on our planet. But surely something that looks this weird must be peaceful, right? Just observe that posture. The front legs are folded politely, tucked under the chin with absolute serenity. Oh, how pious, how devout. It looks like it's about to lead the entire insect kingdom in a moment of silent spiritual reflection. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why humanity collectively decided to name this creature the Praying Mantis. Because it looks like a tiny six-legged monk meditating in the forest, seeking enlightenment among the leaves. It is a beautiful, calming image, isn't it? Well, forget everything I just said. That holy act. It is the biggest scam in the animal kingdom. Don't let that serene pose fool you for a nanosecond. That is not a posture of reverence or pacifism. That is the biological equivalent of a loaded shotgun with the safety off. It is the spring-loaded position of absolute death. The only thing this guy is praying for is for some clueless bagor, maybe a small lizard, if it's feeling ambitious, to wander within striking distance so it can turn it into an all-you-can-eat buffet. Welcome to the world of the praying mantis, Mother Nature's most ruthless, deceptive, and frankly terrifying kung fu grandmaster. While other insects are busy pollinating flowers or making honey, the mantis is out there practicing its martial arts and perfecting the art of the ambush. It is a creature that proves looks can be deceiving, and that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the woods is the one that looks the most innocent. So, put away your prayer beads and get ready for a lesson in survival. This thing came here to chew bubblegum and kick thorax, and it is all out of bubblegum. Let's meet the assassin. So, where exactly does this little green nightmare live? The short answer is almost everywhere. You can find over 2,400 different species of mantises spread across the globe. From the steamy rainforests of South America to the dry deserts of Africa, it's probably in the bushes of your own backyard right now. The only place they absolutely refuse to live is Antarctica, simply because praying mantises hate freezing to death just as much as we do. But here's the catch. If they are so common and widespread, why don't you see them every day? Well, that brings us to their greatest superpower. They are the absolute, undisputed champions of hide and seek. A praying mantis doesn't just hide in the environment, it becomes the environment. They are the ninjas of the natural world, biological masters of disguise that take cosplay way too seriously. Most of us recognize the standard green ones. They look exactly like a fresh, vibrant leaf. But that is just the beginner level. Evolution has given them a wardrobe for every occasion. There are brown mantises that mimic dead, crusty twigs so perfectly that you might accidentally try to use one to start a campfire, only to have the stick get angry and karate chop your finger. There are even bark mantises that are flattened, modeled, and textured to disappear completely against a tree trunk. Then, you have the orchid mantis, the true fashion diva of the family. This insect looks exactly like a beautiful pink and white flower. It is stunning, gorgeous, and totally deadly. Sits on a petal looking fabulous, waiting for a pollinator to come by, thinking, oh, what a lovely orchid. I'll just grab some sweet nectar. Spoiler alert, there is no nectar, only doom. This elaborate disguise isn't just about hiding from predators like birds or bats, it's primarily aggressive mimicry. They are basically living booby traps. They park themselves in one spot and wait with infinite patience. They don't chase their food around like a frantic dog. They let the food come to them via Uber Eats, except the delivery driver is the meal. It is a brilliant, lazy, and terrifyingly effective strategy that has allowed them to conquer almost every corner of the planet. So next time you are gardening, be careful that Leaf might just be watching you back. Now that we have established they are invisible ninjas, let's talk about their weaponry. So let's be honest, you don't conquer the insect world just by looking like a stick. You need firepower. If the praying mantis were a military vehicle, It would be a tank disguised as a bicycle. Its primary weapons are those iconic front legs. Scientists call them raptorial legs, but a more accurate description would be biological. Switchblades covered in spikes. If you look closely at the inside of those forearms, you will see rows of sharp, serrated spines designed for one purpose only: gripping. Once a mantis grabs you, you are not slipping away. It is like being caught in a bear trap made of chitin, but having spikes is not enough. You need speed. And this is where the mantis becomes terrifyingly impressive. Their strike is one of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom. We are talking about a strike speed that clocks in at roughly 1/20th of a second, that is significantly faster than the blink of a human eye. If you were a fly buzzing past, you wouldn't even see the attack coming. 1 second you are flying along, thinking about garbage. Literally before your brain can process the movement, you are already in a headlock. It is high-velocity violence, executed with surgical precision. However, a weapon is useless without a targeting system. And the mantis possesses the most advanced avionics in the insect world. Remember that alien triangular head? It can rotate 180 degrees, allowing them to scan their surroundings without moving their body and giving away their position. But the real magic is in the eyes. Praying mantises are the only insects known to have stereoscopic vision, meaning they can see in 3D. While most bugs see the world as a flat, blurry motion, the mantis sees depth and distance with calculating accuracy. They triangulate the exact location of their prey like a fighter pilot locking onto a target before unleashing that lightning-fast strike. And just to make them even weirder, let's talk about their hearing. You might notice they don't have ears on their head. That is because they have a single ear, yes, just one located right in the middle of their chest, between their hind legs. This cyclops ear isn't for listening to Mozart. It is specifically tuned to detect the ultrasonic sonar of bats. So not only is the mantis a kung fu master with 3D vision and spiked arms, but it also has a radar detector installed in its belly button. Nature truly went overboard with this design. So how does this biological weapon actually behave in the wild? Well, if you are looking for high-speed chases across the Serengeti, you are watching the wrong channel. The praying mantis follows a strict philosophy of work smarter, not harder. They are ambush predators, meaning they spend 90% of their lives doing absolutely nothing, freezing like statues until a meal wanders into the death zone. But when they do decide to eat, their appetite is nothing short of legendary. They are what scientists call generalist predators, which is a polite scientific way of saying they have absolutely no standards. They will eat literally anything that fits between their claws. While their daily bread usually consists of crickets, flies, and moths, they are famously ambitious. If a mantis grows large enough, it stops caring about the food pyramid entirely. We are talking about an insect that will take down small lizards, frogs, and incredibly, even small birds. There's plenty of horrifying documentary footage out there showing large mantises snatching hummingbirds right off feeders, and their table manners are atrocious. Unlike spiders, which politely liquefy their prey's insides first, the mantis just starts chewing. They eat their prey alive, usually starting with the head to stop the struggling. It is basically a zombie movie, playing out in miniature on your rosebush. Despite these terrifying dining habits, humans have actually formed a strategic alliance with them. Go to any garden center, and you can probably buy a case of mantis eggs. Why? It's because they are the ultimate organic pest control. They are like a specialized SWAT team you hire to protect your vegetables. One single mantis can devour hundreds of aphids, beetles, and leaf-munching caterpillars during its lifetime, saving your tomatoes without a drop of chemical pesticide. They are the guardians of the garden, silent sentinels watching over your crops. However, there is a catch to hiring these mercenaries. The mantis does not distinguish between friend and foe. They are equal opportunity terminators. A mantis doesn't care if a bug is a nasty pest or a helpful pollinator. It only cares if it tastes good. So, while they are busy eating the bad guys, they will just as happily snatch a friendly honeybee or a beautiful butterfly right out of the air. They are chaotic neutral. You welcome them into your ecosystem, but just remember, they aren't there to save your flowers out of the goodness of their hearts. They are just there because your garden is an all-you-can-eat buffet. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room, or rather the headless groom in the room. You cannot talk about praying mantises without discussing their infamous love life. We have all heard the horror stories. Boy meets girl, boy likes girl, girl bites boy's head off and eats him for dessert. It gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, "till death do us part." While it is true that sexual cannibalism happens, it is not actually the standard operating procedure for every date. In the wild, the male survives about 70% of the time, usually by approaching very, very slowly and then jumping away for dear life the second the deed is done. However, when the female does decide to turn her partner into a snack, it isn't out of malice or anger. It is purely practical. From an evolutionary standpoint, the male is making the ultimate sacrifice. By becoming a high-protein meal, he ensures the female has enough energy to produce a massive clutch of healthy eggs. He is literally giving his body to support his children. It is tragic, yes, but you have to respect the commitment. Shortly after this fatal romance, the female lays a strange foamy case called an atheca. It looks remarkably like a blob of hardened spray insulation or styrofoam attached to a branch. This tough casing is weatherproof, protecting the hundreds of eggs inside from the freezing winter, while the parents, sadly, reach the end of their short lives. When spring arrives, the cycle begins again in a chaotic explosion of life. Hundreds of tiny, alien-looking babies, known as nymphs, burst out of the case. They look exactly like their parents, just miniature and cute. But don't let the cuteness fool you. They are born with an insatiable hunger. In fact, sibling rivalry starts immediately, as the stronger nymphs will often eat their slower brothers and sisters just to survive the first few days. It is a brutal world from day one. So, the next time you see a praying mantis turning its head to look at you, show some respect. You are looking at a creature that has survived a childhood of cannibalism
Master the art.
and lived through the most dangerous dating scene on the planet. They are fleeting, violent, and absolutely magnificent masterpieces of nature. They might be ruthless killers, but you have to admit, the garden would be a much more boring place without them.